Hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box. Now, let's do a bit of an experiment. If you were greeted by an alien, the kind from outer space, not the other kind, and this creature of the galaxy Andromeda asked you, who on Earth is a music artist that sounds quintessentially Russian? You'd probably point him to a group of balalaika players or perhaps the Alexandrov Red Army Choir. And if you said, what about these Indian people? What do they sound like? You'd probably introduce him to a Ravi Shankar record. Now, what if he said, well, what about America? What is the quintessential American music? And that one's a bit more puzzling because America doesn't have the kind of unique classical tradition of many European countries, just as China has its own classical tradition, but when it's playing Beethoven, it's playing European music. What America does have, though, is an incredibly rich history of folk music that, yes, borrowed from many other cultures, as all folk musics do. Nothing, even in the age of pre-electricity and pre-plane and pre-internet, nothing happens totally in a bubble. But American folk music was particularly unique because of the mix of mainly European music, some Afro-American music, and even some indigenous Native American Indian music. And this style of music was very much informative of the music that became popular in the mid 19th century in America. You could argue that other genres like ragtime, which came to prominence in the late 19th century, were influenced by this as much as they were influenced by things like John Philip Sousa. But by the time we get into the sort of golden age of post-World War One, and then even more so post-World War Two pop, we see other idioms that are very much American influencing American pop music. Things like jazz music, which influenced, I would say, majority of pop music between the 1920s and the early to mid 1960s. Country and Western music is very much an outgrowth of folk music. So we could look at that. Rock and roll is an outgrowth of R&B, which itself is an outgrowth of blues, which itself is an outgrowth of earlier Negro spirituals. But by now the alien is bored, and maybe some of you are too. So I'd say, look, the voice of Americana is Levon Helm. Okay, alien, stop probing me. I've had the prostate exam before. It's a free show, people. But anyway, the point is, it's Levon Helm. He is the voice of Americana. And he's someone whose traditions, both in terms of his life and his music, are from the South. And I've said before, you can watch the video, the South has been disproportionate in terms of its contribution to American and Americana music. And Levon is just someone who proves that rule. Now, his songwriting, his unique approach to drumming, his voice, his ability to play drums and sing at the same time, which is so hard to do, and I don't think anyone did it better than Levon, was made him a true original. Now, while his solo albums are something you should definitely check out, most people will remember him as one of the voices, probably the most important voice in the band. And the ironic thing is the rest of the members of the band were all from Canada, from various sometimes cosmopolitan backgrounds. But Levon was the person who made the band authentic. He was who he was. He was the progeny of founding American stock. He was born in Arkansas. He was real playing music from a very young age. And when he sings songs like The Wait or The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, you can feel the sincerity and the realism in his voice, which is why people can often replicate him, but they can never equal him. You really cannot do better than Levon Helm. And to me, he was the heart and soul of the band. All talented musicians, such a talented group, but Levon was really, he was the heart and the soul of that band. Check his stuff out with the band, check out his solo stuff. You won't be disappointed. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.